Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I can't believe it's January 7th already. We just had New Year's and it's January 7th. How time does fly. Well, we had two winners last night. We had the dog in the Indy Houston, as I tell you, playoff game, especially a home dog. And took them a while, but once we tied the game up, I felt pretty good. And then they hit the field goal, hit the upright, but that's okay. I was worried at the end when they do the stupid laterals because that play works all the time, the stupid lateral play, and I was like, don't take a safety or don't take a touchdown on it. So you gotta worry. It's so stupid. I don't know how dumb these coaches are. The play never works. It worked once on a kickoff when they had 7 option quarterbacks in. Okay, that's fine. That maybe, but you don't have 7. You don't have 7 option quarterbacks, and it won't work. It's never worked. It never will work because it's a stupid play. And yet, we'll do it anyway, and maybe this time it'll work. And no, it won't work. It's a stupid play, but we're gonna do it anyway. I love it. So Houston wins 23-19. And Pitt, we have the under in the game, win 17-10. The over-under was 34-35, so under 40, 41. It gets there easily. So that was a pretty good one. That was based on the rain and the wind. And you could see it rained the whole game. And with Lamar out, it made it very easy. And then into Houston, I just took the dog. I hadn't seen Houston or Indy play all year because they're not on TV here, right? And after watching the game, these teams suck. They are terrible teams. They're trying to make a big deal about the Philly offensive coordinator is the coach of Indy. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw a lot. Let's run Jonathan Taylor 62 times. Well, that was great. You couldn't even throw a pass. Your quarterback couldn't complete a pass for 10 yards the whole game, and then the play at the end. You got a guy in there who's caught 6 passes the whole year. Like, how about have you ever heard of a tight end, maybe, or a slant pass like CeeDee Lamb did against Detroit 25 times? Amazingly bad offense, bad offensive coordinator. And that play probably should have been that run to Taylor on the outside. The kid throws it behind the running back, and the running back has no concept of sitting down. Okay, I got the first to just catch the ball, and he's looking to run instead of just catch it. So the play was open. He should have caught it. I wouldn't have that running back. Minshew looked terrible. They're trying to sell this Houston defense as the 49er defense. I didn't see anything like the 49er defense out there. Richardson plays lettuce. It's like Stroud. It's like high school parking lot football. He runs around here and there, and hopefully he finds somebody. Can't read a blitz. There's that one guy I saw blitz him, got him, but they didn't blitz him enough. A guy like Stroud just blitz all day. Very strange defense. Stroud doesn't impress me at all. He hit the first pass for 75 yards. Where was the defense on that? The safety's supposed to be the deepest back, and he took the tight end. That's not your job. Your job is to play the deep part of the field and not allow the long pass. I thought it was a joke. And that's all the guy did. After that, he had nothing. So Houston will be one and done, depending on who they play. But I don't know how these teams won 9-10 games. Well, I guess it's just how bad the league is that, like, Detroit won 11 games. I don't know how they won 11. They're terrible. but they win 11 because of the 11 wins. 9 of them are against last place teams and teams that haven't won 4 or 5 games. So we'll see that tonight. But let's go through the line. Let's go through the weather first because I'm open to the weather. All right. Cincinnati, Cleveland. We've got slight chance of showers and 13-mile-an-hour winds. And we got Jeff Driscoll against Browning, and Chase is apparently playing. All right. We've got, Detroit and Minnie in a dome. I don't know why they put weather for dome teams. Who gives a shit? We want to know on the field, not – I don't care in Detroit. What does it say here? Chance of snow. It snowed. Hey, Greg and John. Well, they had a good season. They won games, but they still suck. Let's see. Chance of snow. Well, yeah. Well, it snowed here, so yeah. But it's in a dome. Jacksonville, Tennessee. Slight chance of rain. 10 miles an hour. They still have Trevor Lawrence questionable. He's got a shoulder problem. He probably can't throw the ball, and it ain't going to get better. I guess they'll take the needle, and we'll see what happens. But I like Tennessee here I think I like it under and/or Tennessee here. Jets in New England. Now, Greg and John, you lied to me. It is not 10 to 12 inches of snow in Foxborough. For New England, it is rain and snow, 31 degrees. Chances of new snow accumulation 2 to 4 inches. That's it. There's a whole big difference between 2 to 4 inches and 6 to 12 inches. So shame on you, Greg and John. We don't want negative bad information here. We want real stuff because we're betting it. Atlanta, New Orleans in a dome. Tampa Bay, Carolina. Now Mayfield's playing with a hurt rib. He should wear the rib protector, which I would assume. It's 51 with 15-mile-an-hour winds. Tampa just has to win. The Bears at Green Bay, 34 and 8-mile-an-hour winds. This should go over for us very easily. Oakland in a dome. The Giants, Philly and the Giants, slight chance of rain, 35 degrees, 7-mile-an-hour winds. Shouldn't affect the game. Arizona's in a dome. San Diego's in a dome. Frisco and the Rams, nobody's playing, 10-mile-an-hour winds. Dallas, Washington, 19-mile-an-hour winds, which is now affecting my picking because now it turns into an under game with 19-mile-an-hour winds. I don't think Washington will score. And then tonight's game, 9-mile-an-hour winds, 65. Shouldn't have an effect on the game. All right, that's our weather. Let's go to our lines. And I've already checked the injuries, so I'm not going to redo that. I just checked it. So we got New Orleans 3 and 42. New Orleans, it's we don't know because Tampa hasn't played, but right now it looks like they'll have to. It's a playoff game basically, but I'm not sure either of them can get in. Cincinnati 7.5, 37.5. Cleveland is starting Driscoll as quarterback. They're resting Flacco. The guy played 3 games this year, and they're resting him. Oh, okay. And since he's going with Browning and Jamar Chase is playing, the Patriots 1.5, 29.5 to the JETSs. I like the game over with a couple inches of snow. The winds died down, and it's 24. You got to be kidding me. I think New England with Zappy will get that by themselves. I don't think this is not going to be 3-0. Even the Pitt-Baltimore game in the rain, in the wind, was 17-10, right? So I don't see where this game won't hit the upper 20s, 30s. Jacksonville 3.5, 41.5. That's still there. Detroit 4, 46.5, up from 3.5. Now it's 4, which is good because Detroit's playing, and I want them to play. Tampa 3.5, 36.5. Mayfield's playing, so I don't. Who the hell's betting on Carolina here? 36.5. Dallas is, I believe, 13. Dallas is 13 and 46.5. That line hasn't changed. The Niners 40.5. To the Rams, half the players aren't playing. They're resting. They're getting ready for the NFL draft. Philly 4.5, 42.5. We want points. Packers 3, 45.5. Up from 44 to 45. We like the over. That's your free pick. I think the Bears win the game straight out, and I think Seattle gets in. Seattle 3, 47.5. This should also be a high-scoring game. 28 defense against 27 defense. Oakland 3, 37.5 to Denver. Well, I'll leave it like that. Max Crosby's playing. Russell Wilson isn't. San Diego 3, 35.5 to KC. Mahomes is sitting out. I'm sure Kelsey won't play long. And we know Bosa's out and Keenan Allen's out. So, again, where are the points going to come from? And then Buffalo 3, 48.5. Let's see what we got. Yeah, it's 3 all over. 3, 48.5 to Miami. So let's walk through it. Cleveland, Cincinnati. I got Cincinnati winning 27-3. Cleveland's not interested. They're starting Driscoll, who's terrible. And Myles Garrett's out. And here's Browning, who's looked okay. He's terrible from Washington. I remember that. He's not a good quarterback at all. They got Chase. He looks okay in this offense. He's not good. And, how interested is Cleveland when you here's Driscoll. I mean, Flacco's your third string, your fourth string quarterback. Here's your fifth string quarterback playing. How much are they really going to play? And then with Myles Garrett out, you don't have a defense. They're going to just not get anybody hurt. And I think it's a rivalry. I think Cincinnati will want to beat Cleveland at home. The weather's okay. And if Chase is playing, to me, that means Cincinnati's gonna play. Otherwise, Chase would be out, right? But he's playing, and if he's playing, they're gonna win. So I like Cincy here. 27-3. They got a pretty good defense. Without, how do you analyze it without Myles Garrett? Now what's Cleveland? They're a 25 defense with him in there. So what does that make him, a 30 defense? So, yeah, Cincy should light him up with Chase. Minnesota to Detroit 4 and 45.5, 46.5. I got Detroit winning 31-23. It's definitely an over game. Detroit has a 27 defense. Detroit's playing because they're embarrassed because they fucked up last week. Don't blame the refs. It was all the coach, because he could have sent 25 guys to the ref as if Dallas needed to figure out who was going in, when the ref goes and tells Dallas it's number 70 or 80 or 90 or 100, whatever the ref was going to tell Dallas who the eligible player was. And Dallas was going to cover him based on what the ref told them. So the ref said 70. Now you can cry if you're the Lions and say, "Oh no, it was supposed to be 68." He reported. Well, no, 70 reported first. I guess the whole game 70 was saying I'm eligible, I'm eligible. So 70 goes to the ref and he goes, "Oh, okay, you're eligible again." He doesn't even hear 68. Why is 70 even going out there when he's going the whole game to the ref? So that was their first mistake. And then you're trying to fool somebody when they're going to tell you the number makes absolutely no sense. This is how stupid the coach is, right? Oh, I'm gonna fool him. Well, no, you see, the ref's gonna tell him the number. So Dallas is covering number 70, and number 68 goes out. He's not eligible, and Dallas is like, "Oh, well, whatever." And that's why the 2-pointer didn't work because why don't you just throw the ball to the guard? I mean, why do you need an eligible guy? So that's what happened. So here, I think they're embarrassed, and I think they. I don't know. I got 31-23. Minnesota technically needs the game. If they win and Green Bay loses and Seattle loses and Tampa Bay loses, they got a chance, which means they don't have a chance. Detroit has no chance at the 2 seed, but they'll play it like they do. I mean, Dallas has to lose to Washington and Philly has to lose to the Giants. It ain't going to happen. They'll both win. Hey, Alex, how are you? Who you got, Denver or Oakland? I don't have either of them. Why not throw it to the tight end, play action pass? Well, that's the Dave Casper play. That's what I recommend. The Bears and Green Bay, this is your free pick. Take this game over. I got the Bears winning 28-24. I'm not buying this Jordan Love's any good. Fields is getting better, but he just throws to DJ Moore. Both these quarterbacks suck. I'm not a fan of either of them. 10-mile-an-hour winds. It's pretty warm in Green Bay. The weather will be perfect for us. And Fields, it's just with him, he runs a lot, and he seems to be able to get to the open spot. Chicago is an over team. They score a lot, and Green Bay has no defense. 24 defense. So look for Love to get a few touchdowns on the Bears. So I got 28-24 Chicago. It wouldn't surprise me if they win. It's not an upset. They should probably be favored. The way they're playing, they look good. And Minnesota, you want to call, or Green Bay beat Minnesota and everybody gets excited. They beat Hall, the BYU quarterback, who's not very good. So, don't get caught up and they beat Minnesota last week. Like, that's a big deal. Beating Chicago means more than beating Minnesota. So we go over with that game. There's your free one. Jacksonville, Tennessee. Jacksonville 3.5, 41. Lawrence is still questionable, which means he ain't playing, because if he's not ready to go now, he's going to take the needle, and then can he throw the ball? And when will the needle run out? Maybe he gets the first half and maybe he doesn't against Tannehill. Henry's playing and their wide receiver. So Tennessee wants to win. All right. I got Tennessee winning 20-13. I think that Jacksonville's a joke, and they're only good in London. Otherwise, they're not good. And at Tennessee, this is just like last night's game. You've got a home dog, and don't tell me Tennessee's not as good as Jacksonville. Don't get caught up in when, they won 9 games. Look who they're playing. Houston and Indy and Tennessee and then Carolina. Come on. Lawrence at 100%. Maybe I take Jacksonville slightly. I think it's a under game. For sure. I mean, because Tennessee's going to bring defense. And if they don't have Lawrence, Beathard's not going to light it up, and Tannehill can't light it up. It's how much does Derrick Henry get, right? And that's the key to this, but I think he gets enough that this is a close game, low scoring. Tennessee 20-13. Denver and Oakland. Stidham against O'Connell. You want to pick this game, Greg and John? Be my guest. I am not touching it. Denver without Russell Wilson and Stidham, and Oakland with O'Connell. Max Crosby is playing. My score is Oakland 13-7. They played a 13-6, 13-9, 16-9 game last week, San Diego and Denver. So where are you getting points from with this Oakland defense and O'Connell and Stidman? There won't be any points in this game. So 13-7 Oakland. Buffalo, Miami, must win for Buffalo, especially with Pittsburgh winning now. Buffalo loses, they're out. Miami's in. So give Pittsburgh credit. They beat Baltimore, even without Lamar. Huntley looked like Lamar Jr. He wanted to run too much and not a very good passer in the rain. Buffalo, the A team, Miami, the over team, 25 defense. You don't have Mozart, but you got Acne from A&M. And you don't have Waddle, no big deal, just another Alabama receiver. They've got the Claypool or whoever played last week. The key is that Tagliavua and Tyreek Hill are playing. That's the key to this. I like Buffalo 37-24. A lot of injuries on the defense for Miami. Boom. So they're not going to stop Buffalo. We know how Miami is in a big game against good teams. They don't show up. Tagliavua hasn't done it in college and won't do it in the pros. He's like 1-10 against good teams. So Buffalo definitely wins this game. And but I like 37-24. The Jets in New England. Now, Gregor John lied to us. He said it was 6 to 12 inches of snow. It's not. It's 2 to 4. If it even snows at 1 o'clock, I mean, it could snow now or at 5 o'clock. The winds calm down to like 15 miles an hour from 25. Vegas hasn't adjusted. Their line I saw today was 29.5, 30. I got New England 24-10 over the JETSs. Simeon, I think, will score a little. Zappi, I like. I know he'll score. This is way too low. What is this, fucking Iowa? 30 points? And we won the Iowa. That was a lock. We had Iowa under against Tennessee, 42. And somehow Tennessee put 35 up on them without Joe Milton. So I got to watch those highlights. But this is way too low. I like the game over. Yeah, if it's 25 miles an hour and 2 feet of snow, yeah, it's going to be low scoring, but that's not what we're getting. Winds down to 15 and 2 to 4 inches, which is nothing in a football game. So, and you could get pick sixes and probably a lot of fumbles today with the little bit of snow and the wind. So the way Zappi's playing, he's good. He'll get us the over, I think, by himself. I think he'll get 24. The Jets aren't playing as strong a defense as they were. They're a 24 defense. New England's an 18. But I like Simeon, I think, can score a little bit. And, 24-10. I like the game over. Now, here's a case where the line dictates what you do. If this was 36 or 40, I would bet this game under. But you're giving me a 30 and 29.5, I see. I'm over 24. Are you fucking kidding me? You got Zappi out there. You don't have Jones, and you don't have Zach Wilson. You got Simeon. So this to me is way low. This should not be under 36. So they're giving me a free teaser to start with, 30, and then I add a teaser to 24. So again, 24-10 New England. Atlanta, New Orleans, this game's for, I'm not sure. If Tampa Bay, wins, they're in. If they lose, they're out. New Orleans, I think, can get a wild card, but Green Bay has to lose and Seattle has to lose. So that, Green Bay's going to lose. Seattle, I don't know if they can beat Arizona, maybe. So this is a playoff game. When it starts, both teams are like going, okay, if Tampa loses, the winner of this game wins the South. So look for this to be a regular game. I got New Orleans 20-17. Heineken against Carr. Heineken's questionable. So you might have Riddler. against Carr. I think New Orleans is the better team. I think they win. Snowing at Giants Stadium now. Okay, so what? That game's at 4:00. And how much snow is it? I mean, according to my weather, let's see, weather, Philly and the Giants. Slight chance of rain, 35 degrees, 7-mile-an-hour winds. The game's at 4:00. I'm fine with it. I mean, is it a blizzard? Are we getting 10 inches? Well, according to this, it's Philly, Baltimore. Well, let's go to another site. Let's try site number 2. And this is last week. Wow, this is pretty bad. They can't even update it. Yeah. Yeah, what I'm getting, it shows. Obviously, they haven't updated it. I'm getting slight chance of rain, 35 and 7 miles an hour. So maybe got a little cool, but there's a slight chance. So I'm not sure. I've already bet that game over, so I don't really. I need 36. Well, let's check the line. The line's 42. Well, the game's not till 4:30. Let's see what the line is. Is the line dropping? I just read the line. It didn't move. 4.5, 42.5. And that isn't moved, so I'm not worried about it. Well, I mean, it's okay if there's snow on the field. There's no wind. And Philly likes to run anyway, and Devontae Smith's out, and the Giants, Tyrod Taylor, he likes to run, and Bartlett. I'm not that worried about it. I worry if there's 10 inches of snow, but I worry more about 25-mile-an-hour winds when I'm betting an over. So I'm not really. Philly's defense, the Giants have still scored 20 on it. So Atlanta, New Orleans, it's a playoff game. Winner depends on Tampa, but the winner, they're gonna. I think New Orleans could get in if again Green Bay and Seattle have to lose. They all play at 4:00. So Heineken again. They're both with 21 defenses. New Orleans looks better with Carr, but Kamara's questionable. So I didn't touch this game. I got New Orleans 20-17, but Kamara's not playing or he's questionable. So I circled the over 42, but Because I think they'll score. Neither team's defense is that great, but I don't like Atlanta. They're terribly coached. Philly and the Giants, we just talked. Philly's still 4.5, 42. 28 defense with Philly, as we all know, and a 25 with the Giants. Hurts against Tyrod Taylor. Philly 13-1 is a road favorite. Don't forget that. They need the game in case Dallas loses, which they won't, for the 2 seed or to win their division. So they will be playing because Dallas plays at the same time. I got 34-30 Philly. A little snow or not, it won't really matter. I don't think the Giants have a chance to stop Philly, and I don't think Philly could stop a high school team. So this is just all I need is 36 points. Are you fucking kidding me? 42 go to 36. I'm going to get 36 by Philly themselves in this game. They're kind of embarrassed. They blew the lead. They want to win this game, and to win it, they got to score at least 35 points, 34 points here. Seattle, Arizona. Seattle must win. If Green Bay loses, they're in. They're all on at the same time. I got Seattle 31-28 here. 28 defense for Seattle against the 27 defense of Arizona. Over under a 47. We got Geno Smith against Kyler Murray. Play against Arizona as a home dog, 12-1. You could bet Seattle. I prefer the over, 31-28. Where's the defense here? And the way Kyler Murray, I think he only threw 3 incompletions against Philadelphia last week. So look for this game to have fireworks. Again, Seattle must win, but they still don't have a defense. KC, San Diego, Mahomes is out. Kelsey, I can't imagine playing more than the first quarter. San Diego, we know Herbert's out. We know Bosa's out. And we know Keenan Allen's out. So we got a bunch of second stringers out there. We got KC, very strong under team, 21 defense, San Diego 22. And the thing is, Mahomes is out, makes a difference, but who are you taking out of the defense? Right? It doesn't matter because you rotate so many guys that really, I don't think this matters. I don't see what Stick's going to do. So you got Mahomes against Mahomes Jr. I don't know who's the quarterback. Maybe Otto or Mahomes or the State Farm guy. Maybe he's the quarterback. Play against KC 31-5 the last 2 years. I got KC winning 13-10. I don't. Where are they going to get points? They don't give a shit. Like I said, Mahomes out, Kelsey probably out. So they're just gonna whoever the backup is. Is it still the Michigan guy, Chad Henne or whatever? And San Diego with Stick. He's not going to do anything here. The Rams and the Niners, same situation. We got the Niners 4-40.5. You've got Darnold against is Stenson Benson finally going to play? My Georgia guy. We've got Stafford out. We've got Cooper Kupp out. We got the running back out. We got Aaron Donald out. They're all resting. And then we look at the other side, and we've got Purdy out. We've got McCaffrey out, and probably they're better defensive players. So this is an exhibition game. This is the third stringers against the third stringers, and I look for this game also to be. I got 17-16 the Rams. Without the quarterbacks, where the hell are you finding points? Unless you get pick sixes and stuff or kick returns, you're not going to find it. So look for low scoring. They don't care. They don't want to get anybody hurt. They're just going to run the ball and get the hell out of there. Alex, Trevor Lawrence starting today. He ain't going to be any good because he's still questionable. Tyler Heineke, Riddler, okay, and Kamara out. Yeah, that's what I thought. So Kamara out doesn't really help me. Riddler and Heineken are the same. Again, so I think New Orleans wins the game, but I don't like without Kamara. Heineke and Riddler are the same. Trevor Lawrence starting today. He can't throw. He took the shot, so what are you going to look at? And they're playing Tennessee. I still like Tennessee. And we will see. Okay, so Rams 17-16 in a nothing game that nobody cares about. Dallas, Washington. This is Dallas must win to win their division to get the 2 seed against the 34 defense. Now, last week was 27-10. The Niners, who needed to clinch for the 1 seed, and they barely did. But McCaffrey got hurt in the middle of the game, so he wasn't there to score us our touchdown late in the with 5 minutes left. Unfortunately, I got Dallas 34-7. Prescott, we know we're going to get 2-3 interceptions from him. Howell, probably the same. I'm betting on Micah Parsons to shut out Washington. 10 on the Niners. They're going to get 10 on Dallas. That's it. 7 I got. 13-47. 7, maybe you can get away with. Dallas is going to destroy them here. This is not Washington's a Z team with the 34 defense and Thurston Howell the third. What are they going to possibly do here? Dallas will be focused. They need to win. As bad as McCarthy is and as bad as Prescott is, and they have no running, it's going to be CeeDee Lamb Day, I guess, and Micah Parsons Day. So, they're not very good, but in this case, they should blow out Washington. Tampa Bay, Carolina, we got Tampa 3.5, 36.5. Carolina is terrible. They're 16-0 against in a teaser this year. Every week you tease against them, you won. That's extremely rare. Oh, and by the way, Washington is 15-1 bet against in a teaser. So you can feel comfortable taking Dallas -7, and you can feel comfortable taking Tampa +2, 2.5. Mayfield's playing with the hurt rib. They play with hurt ribs all the time. I wouldn't want to play football with a hurt rib, but fortunately my ribs are fine. I know what that pain is. I got Tampa 20-0. I think they'll run a lot. Mayfield will dink and dunk. Carolina with no offense. Steve Young, absolutely horrible. What a great first round number 1 pick. Reminds me of Ryan Leaf. Oh my God, this guy's pathetic. 223 defenses, over 130. I got 14-mile-an-hour winds, but not cold. And Tampa must win. So I'm getting a couple points in a must-win game with a good defense against Steve Young, who is terrible. So I got 20-0 Tampa. I feel pretty comfortable. I feel more comfortable Tampa beating terrible Carolina than Jacksonville beating a fired-up Tennessee team. And that's it. We had Pitt Baltimore. Yesterday we had the under, and it was 17-10. So yesterday we got the under in Pitt Baltimore because of the rain and the wind. That's what you look for. And we had the dog in the Houston Indy. I had Indy in 7.5. And a sleeper 23-19. 2 pathetic teams. How are they even how is Houston even in the playoffs? My God. They're terrible. And then everybody tries to, DeMarcus Ryan's the coach. Yeah, he coached at San Francisco, and you want to give him – it's like the guys who coach Brady who you want to give the credit to as the offensive coordinator, and it's like, no, it's Brady. You don't get credit for Brady. Brady gets credit for Brady. And DeMarcus Ryan's trying to get that. That was not the 49er defense I was looking at yesterday. That was the Houston defense. Indies, what the fuck? What was that last play? 4th and 1. You don't run Taylor where he's picking up yards all over. Ran for 200 yards? And he throws it to a guy who's only caught 6 passes all year. And the guy drops it. I mean, hit him right in the hands. A little behind him, but all you need is a yard. Is 4th down. Here's the ball. Just catch the fucking ball. I would cut that guy. Whoever that guy was, the running back, I'd cut him. I'm surprised they didn't go to the tight end or run a CeeDee Lamb slant play. But I don't even think Indy's got a CeeDee Lamb slant play because I didn't see him throw a CeeDee Lamb slant play the whole fucking game. I didn't see him hit the. Well, no, I think he hit the tight end, Ellie Cox, a couple times, and Ellie Cox dropped a couple. Minshew was okay. I thought both coaches are terrible. I don't know. They're trying to make the Philadelphia offensive coordinator. It's Jalen Hurts running the ball. Don't give the guy credit. So I don't know. Both those teams were pathetic. They won't win a game. We'll bet heavily against them next week. Whoever Houston plays. You've got to be kidding. And to you, Alex, to win 10 or 11 games in this league, if you got the right schedule, if you're playing, I mean, they got Indy twice. They had Jacksonville, Tennessee. All teams suck. Then they get Carolina, Atlanta, New Orleans. It ain't hard to win 10 games. Doesn't mean anything. It's like Michigan. If you want to get technical, so Michigan won, what, they're 13-0 or 14-0. They haven't played anybody. They finally played Ohio State, who was not the normal Ohio State team. The team sucked. The quarterback basically got fired. They basically told him, you're transferring. And Alabama, oh my God, is he pathetic. He runs okay, but he's not – he got sacked 7 times. He can't read a blitz and dump it to a tight end or a receiver. Yeah, so this is the typical Alabama problem. So and then here comes Washington, who beat Oregon twice, Texas, Arizona, UCLA. Here they come, and they're the dog by 4.5 points. Whoa, you got to be kidding me. Why is Michigan favored in the game? I have no idea. Why are they number 1? They didn't play anybody. Or was it the Rutgers and Nebraska wins and the Bowling Green win that's got everybody going? When I do their stats, I use Penn State, Ohio State, and Alabama, and they give up, I think it's 22 a game. Yeah, I got Washington a 24 defense and Michigan a 22 defense. You can't use Bowling Green and UNLV and Nebraska and Rutgers and come up with stats on them. They're terrible teams. The Big Ten, half the teams suck this year. So you can't look at Michigan's defense against Penix and think it's the same as against Michigan State or Nebraska. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So I think I did a score. I think I got Washington 37-31 over Michigan. There's no way you're holding Penix down. Oregon's got a much better team than Michigan. They beat them twice. Okay, enough said. I mean, it's Georgia's number 1, Oregon's number 2. And then I would say maybe Washington, because they beat them, is 3. And then I would say Florida State should be up there. And Michigan, I don't know if they're in the top 10, in my top 10. They're pretty bad. Texas, Oklahoma is better than Michigan. So there's a lot of teams better than Michigan. But because they're undefeated and playing a weak schedule like Houston did, that's where you get it from. So you can't be blind and biased. You've got to open your eyes and look at it from a realistic thing. And then when I look at Michigan, I go, what? Ohio State scored 24 on them with a shitty quarterback, and Milrose put up 20 with a shitty quarterback. How Georgia beat Alabama is a mystery, but if Georgia was in the playoffs, Georgia would win the playoffs by 20 points a game. Georgia would have killed Michigan, and they'll probably would have killed Washington with that defense. Although I did see a different defense. I was watching the Alabama-Georgia highlights. They were rushing 3 guys with 2 spies on Milrose. What the fuck were they doing? Then finally in the second half, they started doing normal Georgia 5-man rushes, and they sacked them like 5 times. So why they got away from that, Georgia does not rush 3 guys and have spies. Georgia gets to the spot before the quarterback with their 5-man rush. That's the beauty of Georgia. And so I think if they played them again, they would not pussy them with 3-man rush and spies like they're worried about Milrose for something. That's ridiculous. And then their offensive coordinator, I see the offensive coordinator on Indy or Houston or Pittsburgh or Baltimore. He's one of those. I think he's Baltimore's offensive coordinator is the Georgia offensive coordinator. So he went from Georgia to Baltimore. That's why Lamar looks so good, because you finally got a good offensive coordinator in there. He looks good. But anyway, for Georgia not to be in this game is just It's just a make-up game then. It's not – this is not going to be the national champ. Alex, after the futility of the last 3 seasons of Texas football, winning 10 games and going to the playoffs this year is a minor miracle. I agree with you. I had them winning 1 game with C.J. Stroud. He's not going to be a star. No, who are you kidding? Stroud, what? He looks good against a shit Indy team or a shit Jacksonville team. All I know is he went to Carolina and lost. Okay. He sucked at Ohio State. How many times did he beat Michigan? Oh, yeah, he went 0-2 against them. That's what you got to look at. All he does is play playground football. He rolls to the right and hopes somebody gets open and throws it to him. That's it. Okay, he hit the 75-yard pass because the safety fell asleep for Indy against the Niners. You think that 75-yard play is going to be there? It'll be intercepted. Are you kidding? They know how to play safety, plays the deepest guy, not takes the tight end. What the fuck was that? I disagree with you because he's an Ohio State quarterback. It's just like the Alabama quarterbacks. They all suck because they have their system. They can't read a blitz. He didn't read the blitz when he got blitzed, and that safety came running through and sacked him hard, and it was like, what, 2nd and 20 near the end of the game? He didn't even read it. That's the problem with these guys. I don't care if he's a rookie. Herbert was a rookie, looked pretty damn good. Who else? Joe Burrow. He didn't look bad as a rookie. Oh, come on. He didn't shred Georgia's defense. He ran against them because he never ran. Let's go to the Michigan game, Alex. How did he do there? Oh, he lost and got killed 2 years in a row against Michigan. He ran against Georgia, and they weren't expecting it. He didn't shred them. He didn't throw the ball on them. He ran on them. That's the only thing. So, great. I know you like Houston. Are you going to the game Monday? Are you going to go see Washington beat Michigan? I can't believe it's in Houston. What? 340 yards and 4. Okay, whatever. And that's running, though. It's not throwing. So you're going? He ran the ball, Alex. I don't know how to tell you that. You going to this game tomorrow in Houston? It's right in your backyard. You can go see Penix up close. Now, if Houston drafted Penix, I would agree with you. Or Bo Nix. Caleb, I'm not too sure because if Joe Moses comes in and throws for 6 touchdowns. So do you think 1,000 for nosebleeds? Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of it. How much if you had gold, though, you could do it. So if Houston were to trade this guy for Penix, Bo Nix, Hartman, maybe Caleb, or maybe the guy who played in the bowl game for USC, he threw for 6 touchdowns. So he shredded Louisville. Is he any good? This Mitch Miller or whatever the USC quarterback is. So I would do that in a heartbeat. Those are your 4 studs, Penix and Bo Nix. Not sure about Caleb. Maybe I would draft the guy in the bowl game and then and Hartman. Van Dyke's going to play another year. He transferred to Wisconsin, of all places. I don't know why. Daniels, I would take. I would get rid of the Stroud for Daniels also. So there's 5 quarterbacks that are better than this Stroud by a mile. I mean, it's not even close. No, he wasn't a star in college. I'm sorry. It's Ohio State scheme, so it's always look at Fields. You think Fields is a star too? Fields sucks. He runs a lot. He gets points somehow from like running, but he's not a quarterback. I don't think Stroud's a star. I think you're out of your mind there. What are you watching? Now, you see Houston every week. I don't see them. I can only go by their stats, and I can't. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, but he throws a lot of balls in the ground. I saw that. And he overthrows a lot of guys. I saw that. He had the 75-yard. I'm not going to argue because the safety didn't play it. The safety is stuck on the tight end. So you want to give him credit for that one? Okay, that's just an average ball. But where I'm talking is when the guy blitzes him and he doesn't read it and gets sacked and loses 10 yards in a critical part of the game is what I'm looking at. Tom Brady picks up that blitz. So does Aaron Rodgers. So does Drew Brees. They see the guy coming and they prepare for the blitz. He didn't even see him coming. He didn't even know he was there, and he got crushed for a 10-yard loss in a critical part of the game. Sorry, I don't. That's why I don't like Josh Allen. If they blitz him, he can't pick it up. So you're looking at the wrong thing. You're looking at he hit a 75-yard pass. Where was he the whole second half? He didn't show up. He had the lucky pass on the first play, and then where was he? How come they only scored? What did they score? 23 points, 24 points if the guy could kick an extra point. This is against the Indies at 23 defense. He should have put up 35, 40 points on them. He made the game close. He can't read defenses and he can't read blitzes. So what you're all excited about him? Why? Because he runs, which he doesn't really run. And he ran on Georgia because he didn't. Look at the Michigan games. All I can ask you. And you refuse to look at the Michigan game. You want to look at the Georgia game. Michigan killed them 2 years in a row and then got killed by TCU. That's how good their defense is. That's my point. That's what I'm looking at, right? Against Michigan, he doesn't show up either year. Trevor Lawrence against Ohio State doesn't show up. Tagliabue against LSU and Georgia doesn't show up. That's what I'm looking at. Against these other teams, Georgia wasn't expecting him to run because he didn't run against Michigan. So surprise, surprise, he ran. Okay, great. He doesn't run much. He is no Daniels from LSU. I would take him in a heartbeat over Stroud. In a heartbeat. Now, Steve Young on Carolina is terrible. There's no question about it. That's a wasted first-round pick. It's a Ryan Leaf pick. No question about it. He sucks. I'm not sure Richardson's any good on Indy. I'd rather have Minshew. If he could have completed the pass, they would have won the 23. The guy probably, I don't think he scores on it because I saw two guys 5 or 6 yards away. He gets the first down, and then you're going to have Taylor run it in. So I don't love Houston's offense struggling against Indy's defense. That was not Joe Montana out there. You think he's Joe Montana, and I don't think he's Joe Montana. I think he's Bill Montana, but he ain't no Joe Montana. He's not no Tom Brady. Those are the elites, and I did not see that. I don't care if he's an average guy that had a good game against Georgia but doesn't show up against Michigan twice. Now you're costing me money. I can't handle that. Oh, how is he going to learn to read a blitz if he can't read it now? What didn't they teach him that at Ohio State, how to read a blitz? Apparently not, because Fields doesn't know how to read a blitz either. Who had better D? I don't know. Georgia looked pretty bad against Daniels too. Georgia by a little bit, probably, but that makes it even worse that he couldn't beat Michigan. He didn't even show up against Michigan. It's all 34 yards rushing versus Georgia, so I'm not sure what you're talking. He got more than 34 on that last play to set up the field goal. What are you talking about? He was running all over the place against Georgia. He ran for a lot more. I think he ran for over 100 in that game because he ran a lot, and that's what Georgia wasn't prepared for. So I think you're looking at sacks, right? Well, take the stats out of it. No, you're including sacks. Take the sacks out of it. So if he gets sacked 5 times and he loses 50 yards, he doesn't run for 34, he runs for 84. I know that last play was at least 34 yards to get him in so that when the guy missed the field goal at the end, that was a 30, 40-yard run. So your stats are not accurate. I'll look at the stats later. I don't want to waste my time with it now. Anyway, you're not looking at it right, but that's okay. You keep backing Stroud. I will keep betting against them. We'll see how you talk next week when they lose to whoever the hell they play. Unless they get Miami, then Miami's going to lose. Miami's in trouble. They're injured. Their defense is injured. You got Waddle out doesn't affect me as long as Tyreek Hill plays because he threw the other receivers. He's got a tight end. We know Tagovailoa will choke in the game. Miami has no chance to win this game. And the running back is okay, but I like the Texas A&M running back. So he's good. So he'll get you the yards that Mozart was getting. The coach, no defense. I saw that little coach's tree, the Shanahan tree with all these guys, the Green Bay coach and they're all like towel boys, though. They weren't really coaches. They're all like assistants. They're like, it's not like they're offensive or defensive coordinators, and they're all running the Shanahan offense. How many Super Bowls did Shanahan win? He won one with Denver, and then didn't show up against Atlanta. He was the one who was the offensive coordinator for Atlanta when they blew the 24-3 lead to New England. Oh yeah, he's going to throw the ball. They need to run the ball, and he throws. I like the whatchamacallit tree from the Green Bay coach, who was under Bill Walsh. The Bill Walsh coach, I like that tree. Who was that coach? Holmgren, Mike Holmgren. Now his tree is much better. Andy Reid and some of these other guys than all these guys do is they're good offensively running the same fucking offense. None of them are doing anything on their own. They're all just, we're going to spread the guys out and throw the ball. Let's see Green Bay today. Okay. They want to make this Green Bay coach one of those guys. Let's see what they do today. I bet they don't get 30 points on the Bears. Right. And I bet the Bears win. I don't, but this Indy coach is terrible. Oh my God. They're trying to make him good because he was at Philly last year. Well, guess what? It was Jalen Hurts running the ball, not throwing, that got him there. And they got lucky against the Niners that Purdy got hurt. Otherwise, Philly wouldn't win the game if Purdy didn't get hurt. So I understand Purdy sitting out today, but it doesn't matter. It's when they're in the playoffs. He got hurt against Philadelphia. I don't know. So again, Detroit's playing for a 2 seed. They're out of their minds. Dallas is not losing. Minnesota, they're playing for the last wild card, and that doesn't make sense because that means Green Bay has to lose, which they will, but Seattle won't lose and New Orleans won't lose. The only way they get in is if Tampa Bay loses and then New Orleans wins the division. And I think Minnesota could get in as the last wild card, but yeah, they're dreaming. The Packers need it. Jacksonville needs it. Buffalo will get it. They need it. And by a big score. Atlanta, New Orleans, playoff game, maybe. Philadelphia trying to get the 2 seed if Dallas loses, which won't happen. Seattle, if Green Bay loses, which will happen, they can get in. If they can beat Arizona, and I'm not sure they can beat Arizona. And Dallas playing for the 2 seed in the division. If they can't beat Washington, what are they going to do in the playoffs? And I'm tired of this road shit, and I'm tired of, Washington beat them last year. Bullshit, Washington beat them last year. It probably didn't mean anything, but they failed to tell you that. I'm looking, Dallas is going to kill Washington. Don't kid yourself. Tampa should beat Carolina. They need the game. So it's all Tampa wins, and then New Orleans maybe makes it if Green Bay and Seattle lose. Then New Orleans gets in as the wild card, but Tampa's not going to lose to Carolina, and Pitt's going to wait and lose because Buffalo is not losing to Miami. Too many injuries on Miami, and Tagovailoa always chokes against a good team. And Josh Allen, they're on fire. Again, they might score 50 points tonight. So anyway, that's what we got. Michigan, Washington. We got Michigan 4.5, 56. Washington will win. I got 37-31 Washington. I'm not sure Michigan can score 31. McCarthy's terrible. They run Corum a lot, but look at the Ohio State game. They got 30 on Ohio State and 20 on Alabama. I don't count the overtime. So you're struggling against Alabama. Washington doesn't have a defense. Bullshit. How did they beat Oregon twice without a defense? They just beat Texas. They don't really need one because you can't stop Penix. So Michigan hasn't seen a quarterback like that. It's only week. We've only played the whole year and the bowls, and Michigan still hasn't played a quarterback. Well, welcome to Penix world. Anybody that beat this Oregon team twice, and Oregon, I think, would make the NFL playoffs with Georgia. I don't think they'd have a problem doing that. You can't look at, they lost Washington. They're not that good. Washington's a very good team, and Michigan's going to find that out. So look at the whole works. Michigan didn't beat anybody. Now, not that they're not good and could be a team, but they haven't proved it yet. We don't know how they're going to play against a good quarterback. We do know how they played last year against a good quarterback, and TCU put up, 60 on them? That's the Michigan defense I'm thinking about, not this shit. I mean, they beat Milrose, who can't throw passes, who runs. So I don't see that. It's a shame Georgia's not in it, though. It's a joke. Alabama has to get in, though. Okay, so I think that's pretty much football. Questions, comments on it today? Anything? So again, analyze the games. Like, just because Tampa has to beat Carolina doesn't mean they will, unless the matchup's there. Carolina's a Z team, and their quarterback sucks. So Tampa's playing pretty well. Should get the win. I got it 20-0. But Jacksonville, Tennessee, forget that Jacksonville needs it. The question is, what's the matchup look like? And I don't think Jacksonville can handle Derrick Henry. And I think you got Tannehill going. You got 9-mile-an-hour wind. And the biggest stat is Tennessee's 8-0 as a home dog. Jacksonville is going to go on the road, and I've seen this my whole life, that they will struggle on the road. I got Tennessee 20-13. Tennessee wants to upset them. They are playing. Jacksonville will play not to lose. Tennessee will play to win, and that's the difference there. Same thing with Green Bay, Chicago, the better teams, Chicago. Everybody, Jordan Love, just like Alex with CJ Stroud. Not that Fields is better, but they score a lot. They got the best player on the field, and the receiver, whatchamacallit, I can't think of what's the guy's name on the Bears. Of course, he's not listed here. DJ Moore, yeah. So DJ Moore is the best player on the field, so I'm going to bet him. And I think it'll be high scoring, and I think that the Bears will win the game. They killed the Lions 28-13. Now, that doesn't surprise me, but some of you guys think the Lions are good. 28-13. So Green Bay's going to struggle to get to 20, I think, and they'll get Chicago. I got 28-24, but I don't know. You got good weather there, 10-mile-an-hour winds and 35 degrees out. Houston will lose the first round of the playoff. Bet whoever they play, unless it's Miami, because Miami's so injured that it's hard to play them. And Tag always chokes in big games. Miami will go out the first week of the playoffs, so will Houston. Buffalo will kill Miami today, and then they'll be the 2 seed. We'll see who they get. Philly, look for them to play mad after losing to Arizona. They want to win. Dallas, after what they did with the Lions, should be embarrassed and wants to win. They want to get the 2 seed, and they're playing Washington. Let's just say if Georgia or Oregon played Washington, they'd beat them like 20, maybe 35-3 or something like that. Washington wouldn't score on either defense. Tampa, close, 20-0 against Carolina. Mayfield with the ribs will be fine. And then they can go to Trask, my guy Trask, if he does get hurt. So anyway, 12-15. I'll check at about 20-1. I will double check the line. So that's it. So we have been so hot. 12-1 last week in pros, 3-0 in my college on Monday. So that's 15-1, and then hit both games yesterday, 17-1. And you have it all documented because I tell you here, I went through all the scores. So again, Detroit 31-23, Chicago 28-24, Tennessee 20-13, Houston won. Oakland 13-7, Buffalo 37-24, New England 24-10, New Orleans 20-17, Philly 34-30, Seattle 31-28, Kansas City 13-10, no Mahomes. The Rams and the Niners, nobody's playing, 17-16. Stafford's out, Purdy's out, McCaffrey's out. Dallas 34-7, Tampa 20-0, and Pittsburgh 17-10. Although they've already played. Bobby Bo, no, class isn't finishing. I went through football, but we can talk economics. I did catch an Egon yesterday, which I think I showed you. So this was very interesting. Did you see this yet, Bobby? I'll play the last 10 minutes. It's critical. But it's worth playing again. Steelers are, if Buffalo wins, Buffalo gets the 2 seed, Miami gets the 5 seed, and Pittsburgh's out. Texans won. Texans, if Jacksonville loses, then Houston wins the division and Jacksonville's out. So if Jacksonville loses, Pittsburgh's out and Buffalo wins. So Buffalo wins, they're in. And then Miami gets the wild card, and Houston wins the South. Big deal. So that's what'll happen with that. So basically, I'll run through it again. So Green Bay must win to win the wild card. Jacksonville must win to win the South, or they're out. Buffalo has to win the division. If they lose, they're out. Miami is already in as the 5 seed. Unless they win, then they're the 2 seed. New Orleans, Atlanta, maybe they get in as a playoff. Philly needs it if Dallas loses to get the 2 seed. Seattle needs it if Green Bay loses, then they'd be the wild card. And Dallas, to win the division and be the 2 seed, has to beat Washington. Otherwise, they're the 5 seed. Tampa must win to win the South, otherwise they're out. And that's it. You have Reefer. Oh, I have preferred Jacks lose. Yeah, well, they're not going to win. I mean, they're playing Tennessee. Tennessee's 8-0 as a home dog. Look for Tennessee there. By the way, I will be on hour 21 of my fast. Good for you, Bobby. Try to get through the day and eat tomorrow. If you can do that, again, you want the guy inside you to go more than he doesn't wake up till 18 hours. So you're only giving him 3 hours to clean your house. You would love to not eat dinner and sleep and then eat lunch tomorrow. Believe me, it's 100 times better for you. How are you feeling? Is everything, are you feeling better? A bunch of sorry teams that neither are sorry teams to lose. Yeah, it's a really weak league right now. That's the thing. Somebody says, well, they won 10 games. I'm like, yeah, but who did they beat? I'm telling you, if Georgia and Oregon were in this thing, they'd be in the Super Bowl. That's how pathetic this league is. All right, so do you want to watch Egon, Bobby? I showed it last night. Did you see it? I told you. Where were you? I just told you these. Washington 37-31. I woke up feeling very good and in a good mood for some reason. Not sure if it's the fast. I only had half a black coffee, no sugar. Have some tea and water, and you got the FCS. What's the FCS? Isn't that the college football? Oh, I have no idea. No clue. I don't follow that. All right, let's go. I'm going to give you the last 7 minutes. I'll go, let's go to 17.
Over 35 to 40 trillion debt. That's the interest. The interest just expense of the U.S. government is going to be it's already in the first trillion, and that's going to escalate. So taking all of that into account, Matt, and then looking at gold. Gold is now poised for the next move up. We've had a consolidation at very high levels. We've hit this 2000, 2001 level, 3 times. We are now at the 4th time, and the 4th time is going to go through. Whether it goes through in January or February, it doesn't matter. It's going to go through, and then we'll see a very strong move. And again, it's not that the gold is moving up. It's just
yes, it is.
It's reflecting what's happening in the world economy, and to currencies, and to deficits, and to increasing debt.
And increasing demand in gold, Egon. Get it right.
And then investors, fear is going to come into the market. Whether that's fear from geopolitical events, or fear from bond market events, or fear from currencies dropping, that fear is going to mean that people, for the first time, will see gold as the way that we have always looked at it, which is not an investment, but an asset you must have to protect yourself against the destruction of your wealth. For pure, proper wealth preservation. So that's the next phase, which is now starting, man, and that will be major. So how do you see yourself, the next phase of this, Matt?
No, I mean, as usual, we're kind of mirror images of our views, and again, it's absolutely ironic and yet so critical to remember when you started this company decades ago on the enterprise and the investment, it wasn't just the very, very important question of why gold, because of the political risk, the banking risk, the bond risk, the market risk, and most importantly, the debt risk, from which everything ripples from that simple debt phenomenon, that unsustainable debt, whether you're talking opportunity cost, but if you're thinking about generational wealth, you've got to think about things like precious metals. I think the why gold question we've given so much attention to, and we will continue to, because you can't be repeated enough. I think another thing that you were very prescient on that we need to make more obvious in the coming months, and we've talked about this in the past, is not just why gold, but where and how. Obviously, the how is not in a commercial bank and not in paper gold for all the reasons we've discussed in the past, and we'll discuss more. Of course, also jurisdiction matters in a world that's fractured. What part of the world outside of your own zip code do you store the gold? And these are things that, in the coming months, as we work and as we travel and as we speak to viewers and as we write our articles, these things have to become more and more obvious to sophisticated investors, because you need to have direct ownership. You need to have segregated, allocated accounts. It needs to be outside of banks that are completely dysfunctional. It needs to be in safe jurisdictions, despite a world that is not safe anywhere. In some ways, you can find pros and cons. And just to kind of foreshadow for others, in the next couple of weeks, we will be releasing our new website, which takes a very strong look at these other questions beyond just why gold, looking at different jurisdictions, looking at the risks, the objective, not scary gloom and doom, the objective risks of holding gold in a commercial bank or in an ETF, and the objective risks of which jurisdictions you choose. Despite no one being the best, there are certainly relatively better jurisdictions. We're going to have a very dedicated, user-friendly, simple analysis of these things, objective, not just pushing our bias for Switzerland, but it's a very strong case for places that we've selected. So I think the important issue of why gold, we'll never stop talking about that. And we won't just smugly say, I told you so. But it's also important to understand where and how to own it, where to own it, and how not to own it. And, I think we've done a great effort this year to create a new site, a new website that's going to be coming out soon, and a new kind of dedicated page with a lot of subcategories to answer these questions for people that are still on the fence or scratching their head. And I think that's very important. So I just wanted to remind that it's more than just why, it's how and where. And those are my thoughts, Egan. I don't know what your closing thoughts are as we head into a very tumultuous 2024 already, a big election year, a big year with all kinds of risks from that ripple effect of debt. But that's where I'm looking right now.
Yeah. No, totally, Matt. I totally agree with you. And there are times when gold is wealth preservation, and there is time when the gold is wealth enhancement, and there are times when it's both. But what people don't realize, we started with gold. Okay, we started in a major way in around between 2000 2002 at $300. And since then, gold is up 7-8 times in virtually all major currencies, and a lot more in the weak currencies. So you're looking at already in the last 20 years or so a major wealth enhancement, and a move that is bigger than in most other asset markets, including stocks. But as I see it, that is just the beginning. And I think right now we are going to see the need for gold as wealth protection being greater than ever. Investors have not realized that yet, Matt. But they will during this year, and it'll take them time. But people will enter the gold market, and I just wish that they take advantage of the opportunity now, which is still around the 2000 level, because gold is over time going to go a lot higher than that. And I see in the next few years gold as not, as I said, wealth protection, but also the best instrument for wealth enhancement. So you have the most fantastic protection in physical gold stored in the most fantastic vaults. If you take our example, we have one vault in the Swiss Alps, that's for bigger investors, but still it's the safest vault in the world, in the mountain. And so people should think about now seriously holding gold as wealth protection. And also, as I said, which is so important to remember, because most people want to make money, but that's not why you hold gold. Not at all. You hold it to protect against losing a lot of money, which most people will do in the next few years in virtually all asset markets. But as I said, on top of that, this is going to be a period when gold will be used both as wealth enhancement and wealth protection. So it's the most wonderful asset to hold right now, and people should clearly take heed of this and buy gold not when it's 2,500 or 3,000, whatever levels, what the next levels are. You should think about buying it now because, as I said, your other assets are going to start falling rapidly in the next few months and in the next few years. So I think 2024 will be an interesting market if you're prepared for major events. That will be negative, most of them, but if you're protected, at least you know that you're going to lose less money than most people. Yeah. And as always, as I always say, Matt, we would have some tough times there, some very tough times. At the end of the day, we can't change the direction of the world and geopolitical situation, but we can look after our family and our friends, and I think that's will be a very important part of our lives in the coming years. So people should think about that. So it's maybe not the best and the most optimistic message for 2024, but we're not here to spread false optimism. We're here to try to help people to navigate through these very difficult times that we see starting this year. So with that, Matt.
So as I say, no, nothing. I don't follow boxing, not since Sugar Ray Leonard and Hearns and those guys. So what they're saying is what I say. Two things. One, this is where I get gold 50,000 because the paper will all collapse and the gold will go to market and everybody will realize it. He says earlier, I'll try to find it where it hasn't even begun to be bought yet. Wait till that happens. And then it's like the Titanic. All the paper, the stocks, the bonds, the houses are all going to collapse. That's the problem. He says, I don't do fake things. That's what the stock market at 37,000. It's all 7 stocks apparently, and that's the Madoff stocks, right? They're just buying it. They shouldn't be buying it, but they buy it because they don't know what to do with their money. They don't want to leave it in the bank, and they don't. There's no other place to put it. So they're safe havening it in the stock market. They think that's good. There's $125 trillion of outside of the U.S. who own U.S. dollars who are about to sell them, which means housing crash, stock crash, bond crash, bank crash. When they pulled $125 trillion out and put it in Japan and China and Germany and Europe and England and Switzerland, because these people are thinking the U.S. dollar safe haven because nobody understands inflation but us. So once they realize they're all fucked, they're going to sell it all. And that's why you're going to have all these crashes, right? Very simple. And they'll want to get out of the dollars. And everybody's going to want to get out of the dollars. And that's when they start running to gold. Get out of your bank. Get out of your safety deposit box. As he's saying, how to buy gold. It's not hard. Just go to the store, buy the coins and put them in your safe. Not that hard. I was watching somebody where people are buying gold IRAs, and they're charging a lot for the gold. Well, that's just people being stupid. First of all, I tell you, don't buy ETFs, don't buy IRAs, only buy the gold coins that you can put in your safe that you can hold, and nobody's going to attack Wall Street on you and say, oh yeah, that gold, it's worthless. Nobody can say that. It will always have huge demand. And that's what Egon's kind of saying. Is like, not only are you going to protect yourself, but it's going to go up in value. He won't say 50,000. He said 10,000 10 years ago. So I'm sure he's near 50,000 too. But because of the price fixing of JP Morgan, that will blow up. COMEX will blow up because as the world moves to gold. And right now, Russia is tired of, so if Russia wants to buy yuan, they have to, well, let's not use Russia. Let's use Germany wants to deal with China. They have to sell the euro for dollars and then sell the dollars for yuan. And the question is, why are we fucking around with dollars? Why don't we just trade? And that's the way it's been set up. That's why the dollar is so much out there. And everybody hates it. And that's the biggest problem. They're all going to say, fuck you to the dollar. And instead of going to the dollar to buy the other currency, they're going to go to gold to buy the other currency. So Germany will sell the euro for gold and then sell the gold for yuan and rubles and Swiss francs and British pound. So it won't be the dollar anymore. It'll be gold. And so what is that going to do with the price of gold? It'll go through the roof just from that. Then they're going to come out with the gold-backed currency. And right now it's people want to get out of the US dollars, but really can't. So what they're going to do is get out of the US dollar and replace it with gold, then have the gold-backed currency. So look for gold. Like I said, 50,000. I'm being conservative. Well, only if you hold Deutschmarks, or if you hold US dollars, it'll be Weimar 2.0. Thank you, Greg John. Well, I'm giving you what's really happening because that's how I'm trained to be honest and tell you the truth, like I do in football. Alex thinks CJ Stroud's good, and I'm saying he's not. He's from Houston, so he thinks he's good. I'm saying he's not that good. He can't read a blitz. That's why I don't like Josh Allen. I always give you my honest opinion, but I tell you Mahomes is great and Burrows is great. So it's not like I hate everybody, but there's a big difference between Burrows and Mahomes and even Herbert. And you're going to tell me CJ Stroud's any good? I mean, come on. He didn't look that good. He hit the one lucky pass on the opening play because Indy didn't have a safety that understood that he's supposed to be deep. How the fuck what kind of team is that? The safety doesn't cover the deepest man. And you're in the NFL, really? So yeah, that's kind of what it is. And I didn't realize Baltimore had the Georgia offensive coordinator. No wonder Baltimore is playing. You want to give it to Lamar. It's Georgia was doing it with Stenson Benson for 2 years. That's why Baltimore is playing well. They got the Georgia offensive coordinator. Now everything makes sense. Greg is not vamping today. A little bit, but not too much. BRICS is coming. Yeah, BRICS is here. There's 70 countries that want to join it. They all want to get out of the dollar. As I said, why the fuck would let's say I'm going to buy something from Bobby. Why do I have to sell my currency to buy US dollars to then sell that to buy Bobby's currency? Why can't I just go to Bobby and buy it? Why do I need this middleman? It's such bullshit. And so because of that, the U.S. has printed all this money, and there's going to be $120 trillion coming back. Could you imagine what the inflation is going to be on that? Because that's not counted on the books. I'm thinking 25, 30 million, trillion dollars. And that's the inflation. But this is going to be like a fucking tsunami inflation. It'll basically wipe everything out. Once this money starts coming back, you won't have a stock market, you won't have a bond market, and you won't have a bank. They'll all be gone. They won't do CBDCs. They're not ready, and they won't be backed by gold. Any new currency that does not come back by gold, then it's gone. Everyone. So understand that. As soon as the sanctions were dropped on Russia, you couldn't buy ruble. Told me all I needed to know. Well, and the sanctions don't work. They're dealing with Saudi Arabia and they're dealing with China. Their economy is fine because you know why? Because Putin's got 32,000 tons of gold. China's got 60,000 tons of gold. So when I read these little YouTube things where China's in trouble, I look at my comments. The Teaser King says, "Oh no, China's got 60,000 tons of gold. Their economy's fine." I mean, and it's a lot of their housing crisis where they were not building houses and taking money and fucking everybody over. But yeah, BRICS is already here and it's just going to get bigger. And Russia's in charge of BRICS as of January 1st. I've got Daria telling me when Putin announces the gold-backed ruble, and I will tell you because I'm sure it won't be on the news. Maybe Egon or Alligator will tell us. No gold. Well, there's gold, but it's not our gold. So they've sold the gold in China because they don't think gold has a value. This is the problem with Keynesians. Keynesians don't like gold because they like wars and A war is expensive, so you need to print money to pay for it, which is basically inflation. That's why all these countries die. They have wars and they can't pay them, and they print the dollars, and then the dollars end up going away. Let me go to another spot.
Yeah, and it's not a pretty picture. People would say it's just bearish or, talking a gold book scenario, but it's reality. And I think the gap between fantasy and fiction isn't just.
Well, if you're stupid enough to listen to Jim Cramer,
argument, it's becoming more and more.
You get what you deserve.
This fantasy of a resilient market, as you said, markets aren't resilient; they're Pavlovian. They go up or down based on whether the Fed is hawkish or dovish. So we have a very centralized stock market.
This guy doesn't understand that either.
A potential rate cut throughout 2000.
Okay, see, this guy with this Pavol, it's got nothing to do with it. People are in the market because they want to get out of the banks and they don't understand gold and silver. So the only safe haven is the stock market. That's why people are in it, and they don't give a fuck what the Fed says. Okay, so the game is attack on Wall Street. I got 60,000. What do I do with my money? Oh, put it in real estate trust. Put it in the stock market. So he listens to the broker because the broker gets commission on that, doesn't get commission on buying gold. That's where everybody gets in trouble. So they don't know. They go to their broker. He gets commission in stocks. That's why they're all in stocks. And it's a big game right now with Amazon and these 7 stocks that are so overvalued. It's a joke. But wait, when the bubble bursts, people are going to lose billions of dollars in these stocks because the stocks are all going to go to zero. Especially Tesla. Who the fuck's going to buy an electric car?
Made markets chase that promise, and then, as you said, Powell seems to have pivoted towards a lower rate policy, a projected lower rate policy. So markets are giddy on that. So that makes markets resilient. They're not resilient. Again, they're just Pavlovian. This idea that we've defeated inflation is a complete fantasy. Again,
exactly.
Not bearish, just a fantasy. More and more people aware. Of course, if you raise rates throughout the year and crush the middle class and create a recession, was not officially reported as a recession, but clearly a recession, that does create disinflationary forces. But the amount of money printing
no such thing
over the next 10 years, which even the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, is amounts to 10 trillion or 20 trillion, in 10 years. And that's conservative. That's not even assuming recession. So, of course, they're going to print more money. Inflation's going to come back. Rates are going to have to go up to fight that inflation.
Okay, so here's why I don't like this other guy. Inflation's going to come back. Inflation hasn't gone anywhere. So we understand it that it's worth a penny. You've still printed $20 trillion. That hasn't gone anywhere. So why would you say inflation is going to come back when it hasn't left? Inflation doesn't leave and come back. You printed so much money, and that's it. Once you printed $20 trillion, the value of the dollar is 1 cent. The value of the dollar did not go up to 5 cents. It's still 1 cent. So this other guy, I really don't like. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's where I get upset at these idiots talking, but Egon doesn't say this kind of stuff. He's sitting there with inflation. He's talking the talk, but he doesn't know. I know he doesn't know. That's why I go, don't listen to this motherfucker.
We're not nearly resilient, and we are not nearly out of inflation. So those are just the obvious fact versus fantasy reality checks that most investors are starting to catch on to. Sadly, they're still chasing that carrot. But, in terms of gold, it's fascinating. You talk about a real resilient asset. Just over a year and a half ago, gold is 1,600. It reached all-time highs, despite a quacky conspiracy theory to know that this virus came from a lab in Wuhan, that the U.S. was probably involved in enhanced trading. And that's not a conspiracy theory. You've got, that center on streams of either end. It should be quantifiably obvious that we have a leadership vacuum in the United States. It's just obvious. This poor fella.
This guy's talking too much.
Almost elder abuse now. And I do believe if you watch American media, he doesn't do press conferences, our president, because he simply can't throw 3 sentences together without reading a card or having his advisor.
That's when we decided that this is the time to go into gold. But just look back again to all the things that you mentioned. So we have this major event risk this year, I think. This geopolitical one, that could be anything, and of course, in relation to the wars that we see. The risk of major terrorism, I think, is massive. The risk of civil war or problems between the immigrants and more right-wing parties coming up, and even Nazi parties.
Left wing.
That could be a major problem. And then we of course have the market risks, as we said, stock market, bond market, currency market, the dollar. So, these are all risks that will make people look at protection. Stock market has protected them so far. I think there'll be a shock coming this year in that area. But we went into gold around 2000 to 2002, and that of course was when gold was around $300. And that's when we saw real risks. Now we have had a few market drops since then. We've had the obviously the tech move down. That happened just before that. The Nasdaq moved at around 99, 2000, and then we had of course the great financial crisis, 6/9. But since then there's been so much debt created, so much money, and now we have this bubble that. So that is clearly something that people are going to realize what they're actually in the wrong markets, and that they will realize during 2024. It'll take some time, but nevertheless, so that's what I see as the major risk. But people also, we're seeing, as you mentioned, we're seeing the BRICS countries and the central banks of the BRICS countries buying gold consistently. But what is interesting is that gold is more or less at the highs now in most currencies. We're seeing a small correction now, but basically we are near the highs. And none of the funds, none of the ETFs are participating. So in the last move of gold of a few $100, investors are not taking part in this. Yes, of course, there are some small investors buying gold. But the major move is really being run by the central banks of the BRIC countries, which is very interesting. So we haven't seen the real buying coming yet, Matt, nor from investors in the West, nor from funds in the West, nor from institutions in the West. And I think we're going to see that in this year starting in earnest. And Gold is always supported by central banks, Western and Eastern, especially Western, because the Western central banks are the ones who are continuously destroying the value of the currency. And that's why gold measured in paper money always goes up, of course. And this is why it's such a wonderful investment and such a wonderful hedge against all risks in the market, whether it's currency risk, stock market risk, or bond risk. And we know that now, you're talking about now US debt is up, to 34 trillion now. And it's, I said when Trump was elected that he would go to, within the next 8 years after he was elected, that he would go to from 20 trillion to 40. Well, that's where 8 years is January, a year from now. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. We're going to have some major events in the US, whether it's banking collapses or just major deficits. That is going to, the debt's going to shoot up from 34 to near 40 trillion. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be whether we reach there or not. It doesn't matter, but we will be near. And you can imagine higher interest rates, which I see on top of a 35 to 40 trillion debt. That's the interest just expense of the U.S. government is going to be it's already in the first trillion, and that's going to escalate. So taking all of that into account, Matt, and then looking at gold is now poised for the next move up. We've had a consolidation at very high levels. We've hit this 2000, 2001 level, 3 times. We are now at the 4th time, and the 4th time is going to go through. Whether it goes through in January or February, it doesn't matter. It's going to go through, and then we'll see a very strong move. And again, it's not that the gold is moving up. It's just that it's reflecting what's happening in the world economy, and to currencies, and to deficits, and to increasing debt. And all of that will be, and then investors, fear is going to come into the market. Whether there's fear from geopolitical events, or fear from bond market events, or fear from currencies dropping, that fear is going to mean that people, for the first time, will see gold as the way that we have always looked at it, which is not an investment, but an asset you must have to protect yourself against the destruction of your wealth. For pure proper wealth preservation. So that's the next phase, which is now starting, man.
Okay, that's what we kind of started with. So people, the problem when you talk to Maloney or Rick Rude or any of these idiots, they don't talk about the collapse of the dollar or the collapse of the stock, or the stock market's 37 million. You know why the stock market's so high? So the idiots in government can say, look, the economy's doing well, see the stock market. Well, how do you think it's getting high? Because they're printing money and putting it into these stocks. It's such a fucking joke. The whole game's a joke. No, nothing. It is incompetence because they're idiots. They don't understand that by keeping themselves in dollars, the value of the dollar is dropping. So they are incompetent to the fact they don't understand gold is the answer. That's the incompetence. And that's what they need to understand.
This is a metabolism killer.
That's in Daria, my picture. 1 second. So that's what they don't see. What we understand is that's why I use the Titanic. The boat's sinking, the dollar's sinking, all the currencies are printed. They're not backed by anything. You cannot have a dollar not backed by anything survive. So I keep it very simple. It's the Titanic. It's sinking. Get off the fucking boat and into gold, because the gold is the only answer. So I'm talking to this gal at the club in the pool, and she says, well, the rich guys know what they're doing. And I go, they don't know. You don't understand. There's only one out here. Gold and silver is your own out. Yeah, maybe the Rolex watch, or you get into the Mantle and the Mahomes and the Bobby Bocards. But basically, those are assets. But basically, for money, you want gold and silver. Then you'll be fine. Then you don't need to buy anything. So be very careful there. I was watching some things on, like, this guy went to Canada, and so you're at customs. Do you have anything to declare? No. Oh yeah, I have money. I got 9,000, and they count it, and it's 11,000, and the lady gets in trouble. You're like, you don't have anything. That's why you keep 4 or 5 ounces in your pocket, and you say, oh, this is a couple $100. I got a few $100. Because you do it at face value, 50 euros for the ounce, not the value of the gold. But you just say, I don't have anything to declare, and off you go. And a lot of these countries I go to, they don't even stop you at the customs. I went to Berlin. They didn't stop you at customs. The only time I got stopped at customs was coming back into the U.S. But when I went to Barcelona, and I went to Germany and Portugal, they don't even stop you. They just say, stop if you are declaring something, and you just walk through. So they don't give a fuck. Then some guy tried to sell some bullshit quarters and, junk silver, and they wouldn't take it. I'm going, well, who the fuck's going to take your silver? Now, if you have our silver, the bullion 1 ounce that say 999 troy ounce, yeah, you're going to get people to buy them. People will buy them if they think they can make money off of them. And if it says 1 ounce pure silver, 999, they know they can sell it, so they will buy it. These little crappy quarters, nobody's going to buy it because then who are they going to sell it to? Yeah, give me the crappy quarters over here. They weren't even nice. They were scratched up and everything. The idea that paper is worth something, fiat currency. Well, that's the thing. It's not worth anything. That's why I say the biggest Ponzi scheme in the world is the fiat currency. The whole world's getting made off, and nobody understands it but us. So you think this is worth anything? So you think all the people in Europe have euro, think that this is worth something? We can buy a cup of coffee with the $5 euro. The US, we know that dollar's worth nothing, and we know that nobody wants it, and they're trying to get out of it because it's the middleman, right? So that's really what they're trying to do is that's really what they're trying to do. They don't know it's not worth anything. They think, well, I can go to the grocery store and buy milk and eggs, so it must have a value, and they don't realize it doesn't have a value. The store has to buy it. So the government installs that you're to get paid in dollars, and that they must take the tax out of it and pay the tax for you, and that the groceries and restaurants must take the dollar in lieu of payment. That's why it has a value, because they're forced to. Now, what I do is if I'm working if I'm running a business, I take the money and buy gold with it. I don't keep it in dollars. So again, your 200,000 or 300,000 will turn to zero because it's being inflated, which means they're inflating the supply of dollars, which lowers the value to zero. And the reason prices go up because the dollar's worth less, it takes more dollars to buy Coca-Cola. And that's what when Egon and Alligator say it's not the gold going up, it's the dollars going down, they're not right. It is gold going up because the dollar's been going down and gold's not going up. Well, that's where I get 50,000. That's why I say it's 20,000 an ounce now, is because it's not going up. It's being held back by COMEX. So we get rid of COMEX, we're going to get gold at 20,000 an ounce. That's your first thing. That's the whole point of it. And people don't understand that. So they don't understand the JP Morgan suppression and London suppression of gold. So you're going to stay in currency because that's the Madoff. The whole Madoff Ponzi scheme is being in dollars. Then what do you do with your dollars? Well, I'll put it in the bank. Ponzi scheme number 1. I'll put it in the stock market. Ponzi scheme number 2. I'll buy real estate trust. Ponzi scheme number 3. They make all the money by keeping you in paper. They can charge you commission. What can't they charge you commission for? Gold. There's no commission in gold because you're buying money. And I hate that the IRS are trying to tell you, I don't think I'm going to, if I sell and I do 1099, I don't think I'm going to declare it, because the reason they want you to declare it is they're trying to say gold is like a collectible. Well, where in God's name is gold a collectible? It's not a collectible. It's money. Legally, it's money. In the Constitution, it's money. How the fuck do these guys think it's a collectible? I'm not collecting gold like I collect my Mahomes card. This is a collectible. I'm not sure that this is a collectible. This is just whiskey I bought, but because it's 12 years, it's very limited and worth probably a small fortune. But where is gold a collectible? It's not a collectible. If I got a numismatic MS-70 coin, I would say that's a collectible, but I'm buying money. So I don't know that I'm going to do a 1099. I'm going to say, fuck you. Why is it a 1099? It's not a collectible. It's money. And the fact that you fucked up the money and printed it to death and this went up it's but it's not a collectible. So I really disagree with that strongly about that. So keep in mind, they are very incompetent. They're very highly incompetent idiots, Keynesians who do not understand gold and want to print money because they don't understand if you keep printing money. Initially, Keynes was in the war, so he's saying you need to print money for the war, so you can't have it on gold. Yeah, that was for the war, but not the whole time. Now these wars, I don't even understand what these wars are. Russia won 72-0 over Ukraine, and they're running around trying to go. Putin's like, who do I won? There's nobody there to shake hands with at the end of the game, so they're trying to end it, but there's nobody there to end it. And then I don't know what this Israeli war, what the fuck is this about? Oil, I assume. I don't know. The idea that paper is worth something, fiat currency. Trying to explain this shit as regular people sometimes I forget to keep my mouth shut and keep it moving. Well, the problem is most regular people, it goes way over their head. They can't even understand that printing something makes it worthless. The more you print, the less it's worth. They can't understand that concept. The best way to explain this to people is to say, if you have 100,000 in the bank, it's worth $1,000 on its way to zero. It's not worth anything because they're devaluing or printing the money to zero, which makes the money worthless. So your 100 grand is right now worth 1,000. It'll only buy what 1,000 used to buy. So what 100,000 5 years ago would buy versus 100,000 now is 1/10. It's down 99%. Put it that way, and that's the best way to explain it. And by the way, gold is being manipulated down, but really worth a lot more. Paper gold is what the price is, but that's not reality. Reality is physical gold, and that's what we want is physical gold. So keep that in mind. So you really can't, it's so far over most people's heads. That's why nobody buys gold, because they don't understand it. And they don't understand the dollar's worthless. They can't understand how the dollar can be worth nothing, right? It says 100 on it. It's worth $100. Okay, but what you could buy with your 100 10 years ago, what you can buy with your 100 now, you can't buy anything. It's worth $5, $10. And that's what you go to the movies, Star Wars was this, and then in inflated dollars, it grossed $1 million. But if we look at it today in inflated dollars, it grossed $1 billion. Well, that shows you the value of the money drop. But even then, it's very hard to, like when they say inflation is 3%, that's prices year over year. That's not how you measure inflation. It's the money printed. And to say inflation's coming down because prices are coming down is not valid at all. It has got nothing to do with it. And then what pisses me off is when they say, well, gold's related to the dollar. Gold's not related to the dollar at all. Is Mahomes related to the dollar? No. Why is gold related to the dollar? Oh, well, if the dollar loses value, gold's supposed to go up. No, gold's an asset that, again, it's being price fixed by JP Morgan in COMEX. So you can't say that. It's not true. Gold's value is, like I said, at least $20,000, if not more. And again, I'm being conservative. And same thing with silver. It's no way it's near 25. It's worth probably right now about 1,000. All I know is when I walk into the store and I buy silver at $25 an ounce, I'm dancing all the way out back to my car going, let's see, 1,000. I just bought $20,000 worth of silver for $500. And that's why you keep doing it, because it's coming. And again, this is the whole Titanic scenario. So the boat hit the iceberg. The water's coming in. We know the water is coming in. We can see it. But a lot of people don't see the water coming in. So they know we hit the iceberg, but don't know the water's coming in and the boat's going to sink. We walk over to the lifeboat with our gold and say, okay, see you later. And we'll watch the boat sink. And we know the boat's going to sink. We know the dollar's going to go to zero. It has to. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. And raising interest rates to 5%, how does that stop the dollar being inflated? You've printed $10 trillion, let's say. So raising interest rates, how does that stop the dollar being printed? You know, the 10 trillion is still there. So the inflation is still there. You've still ruined the dollar. If the interest rate's 2%, 5%, 10%, you still ruined the dollar. The inflation never goes away. That's why there was the 87 stock market crash. So the guy comes in 1980 or whatever, and he raises interest rates to 20%. You had massive inflation in 1987. So it kind of temporarily, because the idea is people will put their money back in the bank, and I guess we'll burn the money. I don't know. So now there's not as much money out there, but the 5% is not, nobody's putting their money in the bank because the bank's about to collapse anyway. They're all putting it in the stocks as that's about to collapse. As I said, all the foreigners are going to pull their money and put it back in the Swiss francs and British pounds and German euros, because they realize that they've had it in the, so it's like they put it in the US dollar for safe haven, and now they're like, oh shit, that's not worth anything. I need to get my money out before I don't have any. The same as, what was I going to say? So the same thing now is the middleman of they need US dollars to buy the other currency. Well, that'll go to gold, and then that's gold go through the roof, and that's the end of the dollar. And that's happening now. That's what Putin wants, and Putin's got the power. So the key is you finally have competition for the dollar in gold. It's always been there, but they wouldn't let it come out. Now they don't have a choice. You've sanctioned Russia, so you force them out of US dollars. Brilliant idea. Into gold is basically what you did. And China's going, yeah, we'll play that game with you. We got 60,000 tons of it. Yeah, I think we can get out of the dollar for gold. China's a little different because they trade with us, so they still need to keep some dollars, so we buy their products. So they need that for their economy, but the economy's collapsing, so they'll be fine with gold. But they want the U.S. to go under. They don't want to come out with the gold back yuan, but they might have to, as their currency is worthless. So no, it's always. What you got to do, Nutton, is learn who you can talk to. A lot of people, and I'll be in the hot tub and I'll be on the bike or in the swimming pool, and you try to talk to them about it, and you just, like, are you prepared for this recession? And then most people will be glazed over. They don't even know what a recession is. Yes, we're in a recession, and it's going to get really bad soon. A recession is just a slowdown of the economy. I mean, they make these words. Yeah, of course, the economy can't always go forward. Sometimes it's going to go down. It has to. So keep that in mind. What are we watching football now? It looks like. Okay. So I'll get more into this tomorrow. But anyway, so at the end of the day, gold's going through the roof. It's held down by COMEX, but it won't stay. The dollar is going to zero. The stock market's going to crash. We're in a recession. These idiots have because they don't understand printing the money basically kills it. So that's what you have. That's the bottom line, because Stone Cold saying so. And good luck today. Your free pick is the Bears over. I think that's a 4:00 game. Look for Tennessee to upset Jacksonville. Look for Buffalo to beat Miami. Look for Philly to beat the Giants. Dallas to kill Washington. Tampa Bay should get the win. And the rest of these, they don't care. Maybe Seattle might win, but it's going to be tough at Arizona. And Green Bay should probably lose to the Bears. Detroit, I've got over on the game. I don't know, about 1:30, 2 o'clock-ish, somewhere after my swim. Somewhere in there. So did you understand Egon, Bobby? Do you get that? I tried to show you how to take notes, but I don't know if you were still on yesterday or the day before. So basically you want to title it, right? Inflation, and then all the things I tell you about it, you highlight them. And then you get into certain factors of inflation. What is it? Oh, it's the money being inflated, the supply of money being inflated, which makes the value. How do I survive? You buy gold and silver, real assets. So that's how you kind of take notes, is just get to the specific points. That's what you want to do. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. I think nothing left. So go enjoy the games. Bobby Bo, the free pick is the Bears over, and Buffalo over is your second free one. Just for you, Bobby. And I brought up this question, Bobby. Alex from Houston, he's all high on CJ Stroud. And I go, would you rather have CJ Stroud or McDaniels from LSU or Daniels? I don't think it's a thought. I think I'd rather have Daniels from LSU over CJ Stroud every day of the week. So again, these people are like brainwashed by what they see, and oh, look at Jordan Love, what a great quarter. Look at this guy, look at that guy. And they're so infatuated by it. It's just crazy. Anyway, 2 hours. It's Sunday. I'm going to go watch some football. I got the over in the Detroit game. So that's the bottom line. Stone Cold said so. So there's an Egon that I just showed you. There's an alligator, was on the day before, which I need to watch again. And they're saying the same thing. The dollar's crashing. Buy your gold. It's not the dollar going. It's not gold going. It's the dollar going down. It is gold going up. Because the second fact, they don't realize that demand for gold will go high, which raises the prices. But yes, well, it's not just gold. It's every product. The dollar goes down. Every product goes up in value. Yes, Bobby Bo. Whatever you want. Normally I do like an omelet or my pita bread or my avocado. Probably the avocado is good to get your body going, but see if you can go till tomorrow. See if you can get through the night and go and then wake up. And, believe me, if you can do that, you'll be very happy if you can just don't eat dinner and get to tomorrow. Come on, Bobby, you're already there. You're 22, 23 hours in, which means you have to do 22, 23 hours. Just don't eat dinner. Have a bunch of water and tea and coffee, and then wake up tomorrow, and you'll be very happy you did. And you'll probably feel, are you feeling better? Like, did whatever that flu that you had, is that gone? My foot's bothering me because I ate like a pig over New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And I got ice cream, and I got this, and I got that. I got a pizza. It was like the worst eating I've done in years. So I'm trying to fast today. I don't know if I can last because I'm mentally not ready to fast, but my foot hurts. So I'm trying to get through my foot hurting and eat tomorrow, but we'll see. I'll probably have more water and tea. Anyway, that's about it. So good luck, and hope the games win for you. www.teaserking.com. You can have my picks through the Super Bowl for $100, all the playoffs, and tomorrow's. Well, I already gave you Washington 37-31 over Michigan, and it probably will be more. All right, everybody, have a good day. Enjoy the football. Enjoy your gold. Go buy more gold before it gets too expensive. See, it's not like will it. It will, and get it. And COMEX cannot just keep holding it down. But that's why the price is low. It's COMEX. It's not because there's no demand. All right. Have a nice night, everybody. Take care. Good luck on your football. And we'll talk tomorrow, playoff scenarios. We'll get into that. And we'll talk Michigan, Washington a little bit more. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you.